Give it a few seconds here to let the stream start. Got the
Yeah, for
button
me,
here.
it's like Chinese food. Mm.
Oh yeah, oh, I had Chinese last weekend. So good,
Oh,
so
yeah,
good.
tonight it's like I went forth and I got some chicken fried rice stuff.
Ooh.
I didn't buy it from the Safeway deli. No, I just went through and I bought some of the pre-made packaged stuff. So I got that,
Oh,
couple of, like egg roll stuff, and like what was it? I got some stuffed mushrooms, and that's
ew.
exactly what,
No,
dude.
no, no bueno, no bueno.
Mushrooms, mozzarella cheese, spinach. It cooked in the oven pretty nice.
Yeah, there's a place right across the street that's really really good. It's called Sing Sao. That is so great. I love the orange chicken. Oh man, I love it so much. But it does not love
Sounds
me.
amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, do you get the steamed rice or do you get the uh the was it fried rice?
I got the fried rice
Yeah,
this time,
it's not a big fan.
but I always have that option if I feel like it to go inside to get some rice bowls with that actual steamed rice. Man, it's when I do, it's amazing. It tastes like clouds.
Oh, I love steamed rice is the best. I'm just not a big fan of like the carrots in there, like the steamed carrot. It's just I like carrots like cooked in like slow cooker with some roast and stuff. That's so good. But like steam, they just get like that weird like crunch moist. Ugh, not a fan. Not a fan. We are streaming by the way. It's live. I just checked. Uh, anyways, so for people, this we haven't actually. Well, we started recording the on the audio side, which I'll cut this part out when we get there. But for those of you watching us live right now on Twitch, thank you for watching. And those watching later on YouTube, crack up a beer here. Um, I don't know how to edit audio, or I know how to edit audio. Obviously, I don't know how to edit video, especially when it's just Twitch. So basically, it's just gonna go up live as it is from the time we hit the button to start to the time we hit the button to stop. So whatever happens, if it happens, it happens. Gibbles got to walk away. My dog starts barking mid podcast because my neighbor decides to leave his house 45 fucking times every 20 minutes. That's what happens. So that's where we are. But we're going to start the countdown, Gables, and
All right.
then we'll officially start the show. Okay.
Yep.
All right. We're gonna start the countdown now in five, four, three,
Three,
two,
two,
one.
one.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 406 of the Dark Necessary Podcast. Our most as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Tell you what, man, I'm feeling pretty good. I got some good gaming deals today. And on top of that, it's like I have been playing my fair share of retro games. And also some of like games I've been playing previously, but mostly retro stuff.
Nice.
But yes, to let the listeners know, today I went to my local Walmart, decided to check out the game section like I generally do. No PS5s, no Xbox Series X's. I mean, yeah, Walmart's kind of a little bit of a stickler when it comes to that shit. But in regards to the Nintendo Switch section, there was a couple of discount liquidations that were going on, and I managed to secure the Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition, game that goes for $50. That was released last year, I think last March. Now that I
May.
think about it,
It was
May.
Memorial Day weekend.
Okay,
I don't
Memorial Day
remember that.
weekend. Thank
I
you for
do.
that. I don't know why I was thinking March, but that's not the point. The point is I managed to buy it for $10. That's a freaking
That's
steal.
a great deal.
It's a great deal, man. I decided that you know what, $10 for this. I'll get another Switch game along with it, and lo and behold, there was one copy of Astro Chains left. So I bought that alongside of it, and I basically got a 2 for 1 without without like much hassle. Honestly, I was just shocked. I got a first party Switch game for $10.
Yeah.
That was like what, not even a year old
No,
at this point.
that's a great deal for a game in general, especially a first party Nintendo game.
That's rare when it comes to those type of games being discounted that low. But yeah, I'm very happy to get that. But yeah, the week's been pretty much as it has been. A lot of things going on the work, a lot of workplace stuff. But yeah, it's been pretty much fun with me.
Cool.
How about yourself, Tyler?
It's been a pretty lousy day, Gables. Not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah,
It's
I understand.
today was the Packers in the NFC Championship game. They win. They're in a Super Bowl. They lose. They lost. So
Mm.
it was a frustrating game. I'm glad it was the early game though, because where I was
Yeah.
4 hours ago, what was it? About 4 hours ago when it ended, I was in no mood at all. I forgot how bad that feeling is. Like they lost last year to the Niners in that same game, but and I mean you they lost. The Niners lost. Your team lost the Super Bowl last year. Like
Yeah.
that's crushing. I've seen them do it once. Albeit I was 9, but it's still watching Elway and the Broncos beat them in '98 was tough, especially as a kid. And not seeing them go back for another 12 years because I started watching the Packers when I was a kid. From the time I started watching, they went 2 years in a row. To me, it was just like, oh, there's this dudes all the time, and then not go for 13 years was I mean, and all the I'll be very we're Packers fans, very spoiled. We went from Favre to Rodgers. We had a not so peaceful transfer of power between those two, but it happened, and but it worked out. A couple years later, we got a Super Bowl out of it. So that in 2011. So
But I will say, when it comes to football, 49ers fans, we are very spoiled. And I mean very spoiled. And this is coming from a hardcore Niners fan as well. Shirt Tales of the 80s, the success with Montana and Rice.
yeah,
My first memories when I was 5 years old, I actually watched the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the San Diego Chargers.
oh yeah,
This is the hat. This is a hat from that Super Bowl.
yeah,
This is a hat that one of my friends actually ended up giving me about a year and a half ago because he had it in storage. And he's a hardcore Seahawks fan, which is kind of hilarious in its own right. Why would he have a Super Bowl hat
yeah,
of the 49ers is beyond me. But I can understand what you're going through with that regards. Because it's like, as a Niners fan, that's the last Super Bowl they won in 94.
yeah, yeah,
Where I've seen my Niners, yeah, they did lose a bunch to the Packers inside the playoffs, inside the 90s. 98 happened, that sort of stuff, but made it back to Super Bowl, lost in 2012, lost in 2020. Obviously, it's heart wrenching because it's like you grew up knowing that, oh, yeah, the 49ers were just to get back to that playoffs, into that Super Bowl, they will get that victory.
yeah,
No, nothing's ever guaranteed, especially inside the NFL.
yeah, yeah,
But the thing to take away from that, even though it's like there's a lot of stuff that happens with your team or a lot of stuff happens, is like there's always a tomorrow with it. If not,
yeah,
it's like they'll always, if there's some sort of like a rebuilding that goes on, here's hoping that like a team, or here's hoping that they'll eventually get back to that spot, you know? And yeah, I've been very lucky to see my team go to 3 Super Bowls, win one of the three, but still.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's nothing. It's like I grew up very spoiled. Where like I grew up. I'm a Pistons fan in NBA, and I grew up in. I missed the Bad Boys Pistons. Like they happened. I think it was like 88 through 92 was like the Bad Boy
Yeah.
era. I'm born '89, and then but they were still competitive and good in the '90s. But back then I was like every other kid that didn't live in a town with the NBA team or stay with the NBA team. We're all Bulls fans. And then when Jordan retired, it was like like I always I always enjoyed those games the most with the Pistons and the Bulls, and that's what made me become a Pistons fan. And then growing up, or in my teenage years and a little older, watching them in high school and right after when I'm early 20s, where they had the Fab Five, and
Yeah.
they went to the NBA Finals 7 years in a row. Only got to the finals twice, won one, lost one. I still can see Manu Ginobili hitting that wide open three in
Oh my God.
game 6 of the NBA Finals that year to when
Dude.
all the Pistons stop them, they win the championship, and instead Manu Ginobili hits that game winner, and then they lost it in game 7. That was soul crushing. So I mean, yeah,
God, I understand that too. I mean, hell, I'm a hardcore Oakland A's fan as well, where it's like I still have nightmares in regards to Terrence Long not swinging at that ball and took a strike, pretty much looking against the Yankees in that
oh
freaking
yeah,
championship series that would have led them to the World Series. Jeremy Giambi not sliding into home base where he could have fucking slid into the home base. I'm sorry, but that's how
yeah,
I still feel about it. At this,
yeah,
how long ago it was in the early 2000s and stuff when the Oakland A's had the trio of Hudson, Mulder, and Zito, the best pitching startups inside the entire league at that point.
Yeah.
But at that same point, it's like when you're a hardcore fan of a team, like you with the Pistons and also with like the Packers, your Iowa Hawkeyes and stuff, me with my 49ers, the Oakland Athletics, hell, I'm a Giants fan as well. I mean, hell, I'm an odd duck, but the Golden State Warriors, good case and example and stuff. That's a team that I would watch games off and on for years, and yet they never had any like great teams, mind you, until the 2010s. They
Yeah.
started winning championships because of smart like dealings they did in the draft, the NBA draft, alongside getting guys like Steve Kerr, one of the best head coaches in the entire fucking league, managing to get all these stacks of picks and everything else, and being spoiled watching the Golden State Warriors make it to the finals like 5 years in a row,
Yeah. Win
and
three.
then like win three of them. Man, such an awesome time right there. But it's like when you're a sports fan, you take some, you lose some. But
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. It's.
yeah,
I mean, we've. I
we're
mean,
getting off
yeah,
the
I know, but
topic.
it's. I know we're a video game podcast, but we also talk about what's going on with us, and that's what's going on with me. But yeah,
Yeah,
you've been there. You watched in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, you'll lose when we've
yeah.
seen. I've watched my Packers lose Super Bowl. I've lost five heartbreaking NFC Championship games. The Packers lose in the last 13 years. They won and lost five. Three were blowouts, or two were blowouts. Three they just lost in the last minute. And it's like it's just soul crushing those feelings. So, but anyways, that's it's fandom. We're fanatics, and that's
Yeah.
you live by the sword, die by the sword kind of thing. And it's just like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm happy it was the early game, and like the other game with the Chiefs and Bills just finished like 20 minutes ago, as of recording this. And
And it's
if
the most unappealing Super Bowl that I ever could have possibly
yeah,
imagined.
I mean, as I've gotten older, I've learned to like I just appreciate greatness, but it's like it doesn't. On top of the Packers losing in soul crashing fashion, but it's just like it's Tom Brady who's been in, or around every Super Bowl for the last 20 years versus
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes, who will be in or around every Super Bowl for the next 20 years, is the way I feel. It's like it's just,
Like I
we're
told
literally
Tyler,
watching a torch passing.
like I told Tyler before we started recording, it's like Tom Brady against Tom Brady Jr.
Yeah.
Quintessentially.
Yeah. This is, yeah. We're just watching one guy that's the greatest of all time, at the twilight, 43 years old, year or two left in him, versus Mahomes, who's 26 years old and has another 15 years in him. So, um, yeah. So, anyways, this is a video game podcast where we typically talk about video games, for the most part. When we stay on point. But yeah, that's where we are. But anyways, Gables, it's been a decent week for some news. Nothing groundbreaking, but like last week, it just seemed like I said, like at the time, like every day, it felt like one or two, like we can build a show around this topic. For this week was like happening every day. There was like a topic like that where it's like we can build a show around this. It's like fuck, it's like there's five of them we can just build a show around. But this week, some pretty cool stuff. Nothing like I said, nothing groundbreaking, but a pretty solid news week nonetheless. I want to start off with one that I was looking forward to. I think a lot of people were for different reasons. Then we were excited to see Resident Evil 8 probably get a release date. I think that was like the one for sure thing. We're getting Resident Evil 8 release date. But some people were hoping for more. We didn't get more. Well, we got more, but it's not more of what we wanted, which I'll get to here in a minute. But Resident Evil 8 showcase happened. It was like 15 to 18 minutes, something like that. Um, it they gave a release date, May 7th, my birthday. Yay! That's happening. They also announced it's coming to everything, not just um, the PS5. That's what the initial announced for, because that was where it was revealed. That was the PS5 event. It's coming to all the consoles and PC, PS4 and Xbox One as well. There was a demo that was out that day for PS5 owners, and they said there's going to be, I don't know if they said it, I can't remember. Oh yeah, different demo will be available later this spring for all platforms. So no idea what that means, but we're going to have a different demo. We got a gameplay. We got some more gameplay, some real actual like gameplay. We got another story trailer in there, and then they announced that A game called REverse is a multiplayer game that's going to be. It says they said it's going to be free with Resident Evil 8, which whatever that means. I don't. You buy this game and you get it for free, guys. That's basically what they said. So that's my new favorite thing. I was like, hey man, if you just pay $60 for this, you get it for free. So yeah. Anyways, so anyways, they announced like they spent a lot of time talking about all the different editions you can buy. Um, there is a like there's like one that actually kind of looks kind of cool with Chris Redfield. There's like a statue, but I can't remember. I don't know what the price is. I think I'll look at it. But anyways, you can pre-order it now. Then they, like I said, they announced REverse, which there was that rumor. Like a lot of people were thinking like there's that a rumor at the Capcom leak a couple months ago with there was a Resident Evil Outbreak reboot or something going on, and I don't know if this is that or if this is a different thing. But it's a new multiplayer spinoff. It's going to be they they didn't really show a lot. We saw 15, 20 seconds of gameplay, but it's like looked like it was like in the police department from Resident Evil 2 and parts of 3, and but they put like a weird Borderlands comic-y like sheen over it, and you you could play as like they had Leon, they had Claire, they had Jill, and I think I can't remember who else was in there. But it looks like it's like a free for all. You shoot them up, and when you die, you can come back as Nemesis or whatever. Like you can come back as other enemies. So there's no other details on that. I imagine we'll hear more later on. And then they just showed the same trailer we saw for that Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, the CGI um, uh, animated series that's coming to Netflix later on. But there was like they mentioned it, but they didn't talk about it. And I believe they said there's gonna be a beta test coming later on for that Resident Evil that RE verse. Um, I don't know. Oh, then they also announced that. Why did my camera just go away? Something happened to my camera. But anyways, they announced that if you played Division 2, you can unlock some gear in that game for your character. So yeah, Gables, what did you think when you saw this?
I love the Resident Evil Village trailer. I thought that it was well articulated. Definitely, there was a lot of intrigue in regards to how things were situated inside that, like that big old mansion that they showcase predominantly. That stuff, that 8 foot tall lady, and I believe those three may hear feet.
Step on me.
Nah. In terms of like her and what I'm thinking is like her three daughters in that regards. That's what it kind of looked like to me, all the witching, all the gothic sort of like aesthetics and stuff like that. And what kind of
Yeah,
got me is like making point of reference of the last game, like Resident Evil 7. It's like, oh, Heisenberg, he escaped his grasp and stuff, blah, blah, blah. He failed. You know, the stereotypical, oh, this last dude failed, blah, 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 and so forth, but we'll get him this time, blah, blah, blah. Last time I can remember a game making a reference about that was like the intro sequence in Ninja Gaiden 2 on the NES, where it's like, oh, this, yeah, I'm going to be a lot more tougher than the Jaquio, this and that. It's sort of similar to like a classic sort of story trope where it's like, okay, you think the last guy was bad? Now this person right here, now this guy tops him. So I kind of like that sort of aesthetic where it builds up the more mystique, the more like prestige of this game because it's supposed to be quintessentially a lot more ambitious in scale than Resident Evil 7 was in that regards. Now, bear in mind, I still never have played through Resident Evil 7, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. I do have
it's pretty good.
access if I really wanted to play it. But from what I saw from the Resident Evil Village trailer, I did like a lot what I saw. I did like at certain moments and stuff, if you do something wrong, you could end up like getting auto deaths or instant deaths or whatsoever, especially with those witches roaming around. I do like that they maintain sort of the inventory mechanic that was prevalent in, say, like Resident Evil 4. I mean, that was pretty cool, in my honest opinion. However, in terms of like the crafting stuff, I'm not sure how they're going to be implementing how they're going to get that stuff worked and fine tuned. But I don't really like pinpoint, say, crafting with Resident Evil all that much. They're like a little mixture of things here and there, combining items. But
Yeah, that's kind of yeah. I'm curious what they mean by that too, because I'm like when they talk about crafting, I'm like, I mean they kind of do crafting because like you can combine items together, or you like that's sometimes a puzzle is like yeah combine these jewels with this to
right,
unlock that, you know. So like I guess combining and crafting are different things, but that's kind of what I had in my mind.
Oh
Or
yeah,
alongside.
as you know, as long as they maintain the mystique of what makes Resident Evil, which is the atmosphere of like the survival horror type of feel in that regards with it, I feel that Capcom may have itself a great game on its hands in that regards. Now, saying that aside, that freaking 800-pound elephant in the middle of the room, to go to RE verse, I was completely underwhelmed with the RE
Yeah,
verse. To be perfectly lightly, it looked like an average like first person online shooter. Quintessentially, it's matchmaking or team deathmatch sort of feature. Didn't really see much team match now that I think about it, but quintessentially, it's like a specific mode inside of some online games. And it's kind of hilarious how they tout it as like, oh, this is free. You want to go when you buy Resident Evil Village and this and that. You know, it's like it looks weird. I don't understand the direction of what they're going with this stuff. I mean, okay, it's a multiplayer mode that's separate from Resident Evil Village or whatsoever. You know, it's like, eh. So honestly, I was very much underwhelmed about it. I don't really care, to be that honest. But Resident Evil Village stuff that was fine. It was interesting seeing the CG stuff for like the Resident Evil like animated like CG movie sort of thing coming to Netflix.
yeah,
It's supposed to take place after Resident Evil 4, which that makes sense. But
yeah. Is that the one that? Oh no, that there's a live action one that takes place with the um, what's the bad guy's name? The mate like the
for which?
fuck for like the Resident Evil series in general, the first four, five.
Oh, the first
Um,
five is Albert Wesker.
yeah, like that one. I think the live action one's like his two kids. I think
Oh,
that I'm thinking
okay.
about.
This the Children of Wesker. Okay.
Yeah, I think that I can't. Yeah, I can't. I keep mixing them up. I think there's three in development. I think there's two animated and a live action, but I could be wrong. I can't keep track.
Well, there were a couple of CGI ones that were
Yeah,
prevalent, but those were like a number of years ago at this point. But overall, you know, the whole presentation for Resident Evil, I thought it was all right. You know, it showcased what it needed to showcase first and foremost. It wasn't really as long and stuff, so it didn't really outstay its welcome with a lot of boring details and this and that. But I thought it was kind of funny how they had to confirm the fact that yes, we are making last generation games, but last generation
yeah,
copies of Resident Evil Village. I'm like, we're at that point now with cross generation where developers have to confirm, yes, we're bringing it to PS4 and Xbox One.
yeah. And it was kind of weird. Like I felt like, I mean, personally, like was I little like, oh man, like they're putting on that last gen, but it's like it makes sense. It'd be stupid for them not to. You know, I get it from a business perspective, and I think it's better for a fan base
Yeah,
when it's like, especially where it's like, it's not like there's a million or like 10 million PS5s and Xbox series out there,
well,
and there's no one's
yeah.
buying them. It's just we can't buy them, or people can't buy them.
How the fuck are we supposed
So
to enjoy a PS5 and Xbox Series X when Sony and Microsoft have made it hard for us to get, to
yeah,
buy? The retailers have made this freaking hard to buy. And on top of that, we have people claiming to be freaking Robin Hood with their stupid scalping bot shit
yeah,
that's going through and buying literally thousands of these consoles in order to get the most markup prices possible. So it's like, where is this next generation? I'm seeing the games, I'm seeing them on the retail stores, but without the actual consoles in people's hands, unless we're incredibly lucky and end up managed to pre-order one inside a brick and mortar store. Yeah, it's doesn't really feel like next generation to me.
yeah. So yeah, I get it. Them doing that makes the most sense to me. I don't. I mean, you and I've heard some people talk about that, where especially where it's like, oh well, they're backwards compatible, whatever. But it's like you think about it, and I was, I remember talking about the time where it's like I feel like the new consoles, PS4 and Xbox One came out in 2013, and I'd argue it wasn't really till 2016 where we started to actually like that. Like I remember like 2015 when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out and everything,
Hmm.
and I was and like that was just
Yes.
everything. Just that was just the thing. Everything came out. There was a few cases I know. Like I remember Assassin's Creed. I think it was Unity only came out on the PS4 and Xbox One, but then they made the one that is only on the last gen consoles, like 360, PS3, and then
Yeah, that's
for the
right.
most part everything was on everything, and it just I get that, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2022 and we're still getting like those big fall games are still coming to both. It wouldn't shock me, especially third party. Maybe first party by then will fall off, but um, it makes complete sense for that. But anyways, moving on to the actual showcase itself. May 7th, that works out for me.
Mm.
I'm kind of this. There's a few pretty good games coming out. I think in the first chunk of the year so far that we know of. We've been, I think we've been talking about. I've heard a few other people talking about. I was like, this year we just don't know a lot. There's not even that many games like announced that we think might actually come out this year. It's just like there's a lot of games where it's just, I mean, who know? We probably don't even know they're going to be coming out this year. We don't even know exist yet. Um, but it's coming out May 7th. Good time. It's a great time. Some would argue the best day of the year. Um, but yeah, I love that date. May's kind of like that a weird month where you don't usually get a lot. Usually, like you get a lot in March. You usually get some stuff at the end of February. You get a lot of March because people want to get it out for the end of the fiscal year. Then you have a few things that kind of like bleed over into April because they didn't quite make that fiscal year. But May, just May, a solid month. I love May. I'm also biased about May, but May feels good. A lot of good things happen in May. But anyways, uh, I like the gameplay trailer. I was joking around last week about Nintendo making just furry fans because of Mario in a cat suit. How many people are gonna be big like into like what's it called, like giantess, whatever, people like to be stepped on, that weird porn genre. Gables, don't look at me
Sadists,
like that. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
masochists, sadists.
Not massive, but those people like those weird. Don't act like you haven't got scrolled through a Pornhub and you see that weird.
I'm
You see
trying to
that
think
weird
of
thing where it's like
term of it.
a guy getting shrunk down or a guy getting stepped on. Don't act like you don't know.
That's what I thought.
Um,
Like masochist or something strange,
I
crazy.
don't fucking know. I don't click on it. I see the thing, the headline, and I see the cap like with a weird caption thing. Okay, I don't click on it. I just know it's there. I know it exists.
Oh god.
But anyways, people just learn a lot about me right now. Uh, but anyways, yeah, we're just creating a lot of weird. Um,
Weird dynamics tonight, Tyler.
yes, well, not us.
I
Gaming
know.
is.
I know.
Uh, but I don't know. I just like the story of it so far. I don't. Ethan was okay. I also feel like though he didn't. I don't think any of the characters are necessarily super strong in any of the games, anyways. Um, I like I talked about like our game of the year stuff when I saw Resident Evil 3. That was like the first time I'm like, I'm actually into Jill Valentine as a character. Like if they actually gave her some like not a lot. I mean, but for a Resident Evil game, they gave her something. I'm not talking like this isn't like Naughty Dog level of like building some character development and shit. But yeah, I'm interested to get more into the backstory of it. With him and his wife, and then they have a kid. I think Rose is her name. Why the hell is allegedly Chris Redfield stealing her daughter? Why do these people want her daughter? Why are they in a castle in the first place? Like I'm actually intrigued, and I actually put the demo, which I'll talk about here a little later, that came out for PS5. Um, but yeah, like I liked what I seen. I'm more excited. I played like I talked about last year. Or last year I played Resident Evil 7 for the first time finally after multiple attempts of just sitting down and playing it, and I ended up beating it a whole day in like one whole day. And I enjoyed it quite a bit, but like I wasn't. I think it'd been 3 years, over 3 years at that point. I wasn't like in it when everybody was playing it and blown about it, so I had time to jump into it, and my expectations were different. But I enjoyed it for what it was. But I'm definitely excited for it. I like it more. It's a little more scary. I kind of like these bad guys more than the Baker family. And the idea of just being in a castle seems kind of cool. And then you have the Duke, the merchant. He just seems like a weird guy. He's not. I was hoping we'd had the return of the merchant though from 4. I just want to see what you buying. I'll buy it at a high price. Like I wanted him, but this will do. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I'm excited. The Resident Evil, the RE-verse thing, cool name. Dig the name. But I thought the game. I don't know. I obviously we don't know a lot about it. Like I was thinking like it'd be kind of cool. Like maybe like people like Dead by Daylight kind of stuff, or like the Friday 13th Predator stuff, where it's like like one guy is a main bad guy, and then you have 4 people trying to take him down. That can be kind of a cool aspect. Like, there's definitely an audience that likes that. I don't know if putting that in behind a game and charging $60. I mean, everybody's gonna buy this game for Resident Evil 8, the campaign, not for
Yes.
RE-verse. Just like Resistance, but I guess no one liked Resistance in general. Like, it was just a bad game. But it's just like I don't understand. Like, Capcom keeps trying to make Resident Evil multiplayer a thing, and it doesn't work.
No.
I don't understand why they keep trying. It's like they they're worse with the internet than maybe Nintendo is. Honestly, it's like I think they're the worst. Like I can't, like even like Monster Hunter World. Like they make great games. They make really good games that people love. But it's like Monster Hunter World. Like everybody like talked about. It's like, oh, I love that game. But it's like doing the multiplayer shit was just awful. And like hearing people talk about what they had to do to like get into a game with their friends, just as Gables takes a huge bong rip. Uh, uh,
Bong. As I'm
yeah,
drinking out of my water bottle.
yes, water. Um, but anyways, yeah, I don't know. I thought underwhelming, and I don't really know what they can show me that would kind of make me like think differently. Like I talked about last week, like Resident Evil gameplay itself, like the shooting and all that, not super fun. But that's not what you go to Resident Evil for.
Right.
You go for the spookiness. You go for that's like that's the backlash behind 5 and 6, where it's like I don't come here for a great, well-made game. I come here for the world that you build, the stories that are semi-interesting, but it's like more so. It's like this is a horror game. This is a action game. And it's like I don't. It's just like Dead Space 2, like when EA forced them to make a multiplayer component of their game. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you actively just made your game worse. It's like if anything, like this should be like its own separate thing that comes out like free to play. It's like the Resistance was riddled with fucking uh, um, microtransactions that you can do. It's like I'll be I assume the same thing with REverse will be the same thing. Just fucking make it free to play, and then put the microtransactions in that, and maybe you'll grow a better audience because I feel like a lot of people are gonna play that Resident Evil campaign and then they're done with it.
Yeah.
Then maybe people might go back later, but no one's gonna stick around after they beat it and play REverse. But I feel like I would have a better chance of surviving putting it out there for free or for $10, something cheap. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm more excited than I was for RE8. I have in fact pre-ordered it, and I'll talk here a little bit later about the demo. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Sticking with Resident Evil for 1,000 here. So some news kind of came out. Like if there's a lot of people like I don't I mentioned it too, but I wasn't didn't think it was gonna happen, but it was kind of like a stretch thing. It's like kind of like when you go into a direct, you're like, oh man, they're gonna talk about this, and this, but it's like in the back here, you're like, no, they're not. But it's like you just kind of hope. But anyways, why is an ad popping up? God damn it! Here, okay. So anyways, so Resident Evil 4 is apparently getting like a partial development reboot due to some internal disagreements. This is a rumor. Here, so this is an article from IGN. A much rumored remake of Resident Evil 4 is reportedly seeing a partial reboot at Capcom, a change in development leadership after disagreements over its direction. VGC reports that per sources close to the project, core Resident Evil studio Capcom Division 1 has taken the lead on the project, with original developer M2 seeing its role reduced. The change could apparently lead to a 2023 release date, and the assumption was it'd be 2022. The report explains that following a project review, I keep wanting to say Mewtwo, but it's M2. It's really throwing me off here. Was seen to be too faithful to the original game, with Capcom preferring that the remake take inspirations from Resident Evil 4, but introduce new elements and features. The latter approach was taken in both the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, with varying levels of fan response. M2 is said to have wanted to stick with the Resident Evil 4 formula due to backlash against Resident Evil 3's changes, which saw portions of the original game entirely removed. So anyways, yeah, big change there where you have I think both studios were already working on it, but one was leading it and the other one was like, kind of helping make it in the background as a support studio, but now those roles have reversed. I mean, this one's a little different, because like Resident Evil 3, the version I played last year is all I know. Resident Evil 3, I never played it even back in the day. At least I might have played like bits and pieces, but I never played it. Much like Resident Evil 2, I never really played it. So for me, I played through it and enjoyed it, but I know there was like a huge chunk taken out of it. From what I heard, for the most part, people said it was for the better. Like a whole boss was taken out, a whole chunk, like a whole area was taken out. But a lot of people said that like that game, like that part of the game was just terrible. But I know there's a lot of hardcore fans that like. But I get it, it's as a hardcore fan, it's like you have a love for something.
Right.
When you look back upon it, it's like I don't know, like if someone remade Metal Gear Solid 1 and totally took out chunks or changed things, I don't know how I'd feel about it either. But I from what I played, I enjoyed the game. I thought it was fine for what it was. Resident Evil 4, it's like I tried going back playing Resident Evil 4 a while back on when it came out 360 when they did the HD remaster, and it was like, oh boy, this game does not play well. And this is like 2010, 2011. But like, and I mean that's a game I probably beat more than any other game in my entire life. I probably beat that game 15, 20 times. Um, and I don't know. I could probably play through that. I played it so many times. I could probably play that whole game in my mind right now. But I don't know. Like I'm not. But I'm also not dedicated enough to like that to the Resident Evil fans or fandoms. Um, where I'm like, don't change anything. But it's like I also feel like the story in that game is dumb. The story in all Resident Evil games is pretty dumb, to be fair.
Well,
But
that's pretty much
like in
in,
that one,
yeah, it's pretty much like in accordance to the series in and of itself, where it's like it's outlandish, it's cheesy. There's a bit like that cheesy
yeah,
B movie horror sort of thing. So
yeah, and it's just like I mean, they make changes and make it play better, and then also kind of help with the overall flow of that game because there's definitely chunks of that game where you just run around, backtrack, and do a lot of shit that you don't need to do. It's like if you're just gonna make it a better, tight experience, like I'm not complaining. Like how many times do we have to fight the Gigante or what the hell they're called? Like it's ridiculous. I don't need to do that. And then with the fact you have the president's daughter with you, it's like there's a lot of pain points in that game with her, and it's like you can take some shit out of that, fix that, make it better. So I don't know. Make it, I mean, I'm not. Who knows exactly how much they want to stick to it, but I'm not too upset about it. What about you, Gables?
when I hear about this conflict in that regards from the Capcom's internal studios and also with M2, the critique is M2 was falling along the lines of too much like the original release.
Yeah, they basically were just making a remake, like a one for one remake of RE4.
And you see, I understand where M2 is coming in this certain direction because you don't want to really piss off a lot of like the older fans or like the fans that loved this game initially when it came out. At the same time, I do agree with you, Tyler, that there are elements of Resident Evil 4, despite it being a
Mm.
great game, especially releasing to all the commercial like success that it did back in the GameCube PS2 generation. There are elements I wish would be better changed inside of the modern day settings. One, I really wish that it had the Resident Evil 2 remasters control style in that regards. I mean, hell, I would love that. I also would love it if they take out some bit of the portions of the escort missions with Ashley. I mean, that was one of the most annoying parts inside of that game. I mean, hell, you could have it be like an escort mission sort of thing, but not have it be as obtrusive or as brain dead as some bit of
Yeah.
some sections of Resident Evil 4 was. Now, here's the thing. Even though personally I've never beaten the entirety of Resident Evil 4, I have gotten at least partially to those points of like the escort missions and this and that, until finally I decided to stop. But from those experiences, I was really enjoying everything else. So as long as M2 is there to try to keep things a little bit in on regards to how the classic does feel, and as long as Capcom's internal studio does not add too much of these gimmicky new features to it or deviate so much from the initial content to where it feels sort of like how Resident Evil 5 or Resident Evil 6 felt, where it's too much like inside of one direction or too gimmicky for its own good. It's like I do welcome some modernized changes to Resident Evil 4, and if that means I have to play in 2023, I mean, hell, I'm okay with it. I mean, for God's sakes, I have the original Resident Evil 4. I can just easily go through if I wanted to have my Resident Evil 4 fix. And
Yeah.
besides, wasn't it initially that people were upset because of the inklings of, oh, hey, Resident Evil 4 is going to be remastered and blah, 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 and it's going to be coming out soon? I mean, oh, come on, blah, blah, blah. I want to go Veronica, this shit and that shit. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like I think it's for the better that Capcom does get initial focus upon what they want this remaster to be, because even if it was say a one-to-one remake, people would criticize the hell out of it because why would you spend so much for a one-to-one remake of a Resident Evil 4 remastered when you could buy the original game on the same freaking service, like say for PS4, Xbox One. Hell, if you really wanted to go through and get one of the better versions, get the freaking Wii version. I mean, that one had at least the pointer and stuff and had the best adequate controls, in my honest opinion. But yeah, it's gonna be one of those interesting times with that game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else is going to come out of this. But I don't think it's all doom and gloom like some gamers are suspecting about it. I think this is actually moderately for the positive because this could potentially lead it to a better version of a classic game.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just like you were saying, this was a lot of people were talking about. This is like probably the most important remake you can do
True.
of all of them, besides maybe the first one. Um, and it's just like when you see the drastic changes they've taken with 2 and 3, where they're basically like changing whole aspects of the stories and changing. You know,
Yeah.
we're just totally like getting rid of. Excuse me, I just took a huge drink of my beer. But you're just doing complete changes of like, stories and cutting things and adding new things, and I love the idea of that. I'm curious if they're going to do that with 5 and 6. Hopefully, that'd be awesome if they just like we just 5 and 6 don't exist. We're just going to remake them. Or I guess you can keep 5 as is, but change some things. Then 6, so you can just like 6 and
Burn it with fire.
yeah, yeah. We're just gonna burn that next to the Packers defensive coordinator. We're gonna put those on, just light them on fire. Um, anyway, I'm still bitter. But anyways, no, like think about right now. I think I would argue Resident Evil, the last since like 2017 this is the hottest it's been since probably it came out initially,
Yeah.
like in what 98. So it's I would say it's more important to you have a lot of I would argue you have a lot of new fans right now,
Yeah.
and be more important to keep them happy and bring on new fans of the genre than the fans that have been around for a while, because like they're hardcores. They're gonna keep buying them no matter what. And it's just like a more about like keeping these new fans happy and keep creating new ones. And I think the route they've been going with, they've shown with 2 and 3, like they know what they're doing. And hopefully they can keep that going with 4. And I'm excited for the changes they can do and make it better. But I mean, I can understand as a hardcore, like this is considered one of the greatest games of all time, and this is probably one of the harder remakes you can do. It's like even like Demon Souls, like everybody loves that. I mean, you look at
Yes.
the remake, people love that game. It's doing really really well, and the reviews are awesome. People that play it love it, but then you listen to the people like the hardcore Souls fans, and like they hate that game. They hate some of the things done with it. And it's like it's a very small, minute audience. It's like what's the vocal minority kind of thing. It's like it's a very there's just they're most vocal, but they're the smallest group of they're the ones that talk the loudest
That's very
kind of
true.
thing. And I think that's just gonna be the case where it's like you're gonna hear the most. It's just like you're gonna hear the most from the people, but it's in the grand scheme of things, there's like 95% of people that love it don't talk about it. It's just that Anyways, um, I hope it turns out well, and I hope it works out for better. If we had to wait an extra year to play it, that's fine. Just get it right. Um, because if they fuck it up, that's really bad. If it comes out and it just isn't good, that's a bigger ordeal. I'd rather them swing for the fences and do this and get it right than play it safe and then it doesn't come out or doesn't do well. Then it's a lose lose for everybody. Um, Anyways, moving on to some kind of sad news here. Gables Vicarious Visions is no more. The studio's been around for over 25 years. Um, is no longer around. This is I'm reading this article. I fucking hate these fucking pop-ups. GameIndustry.biz article. It's a website I actually check out quite a bit. They cover a lot of stuff that like the bigger sites don't cover, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Some of it's more businessy, like behind. Some of it's like over my head, but I just want to point that out. But so Activision Blizzard, who owns Vicarious Visions, has said that Vicarious Visions is no more, and they're just kind of being absorbed by Blizzard to help them work on their games. It's a merger, is what they're saying. Going forward, Visions team of around about 200 people will be employees of Blizzard, and a fully dedicated to existing Blizzard games and initiatives, which means Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 studio will no longer be creating games as a lead developer. This is a quote from them. After collaborating with Vicarious Visions for some time and developing a great relationship, Blizzard realized there was an opportunity for Vicarious Visions to provide long-term support. A representative explained to us they declined to specify what the team has been working on Blizzard or for how long. As part of this move, Vicarious Visions studio head Jen O'Neill has been promoted to Blizzard Executive Vice President Development, where she joins the company's leadership team. Um, O'Neill is being replaced in the Vicarious Vision studio head role by Simon Edbiger, who previously served as COO for the studio. Vicarious Visions was bought by Activision in 2005 and has worked on many of the publisher's biggest franchises over the years, including Guitar Hero, Spider-Man, Tony Hawk, Crash Bandicoot, Destiny, Skylanders, and Call of Duty. Uh, so really sad kind of turn there, where it's just like the last two games they put out. I'm gonna pull up their I want to go on the Wikipedia page, see it, just kind of get an idea of all the games they made. But it's like the last two games they've brought back two franchises.
Mm-hmm.
They totally nailed. I didn't care for it, but I know a lot of people loved it. And we got a Crash 4. They brought back the Crash Bandicoot franchise with a trilogy, and then just a few months ago they put out fucking Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And one of the best selling games of last year. I think it was one of the 10 best selling games. I think it was 10th, but it was one of the best selling games of last year. And then to see that they're just, here's your reward, guys. You get to go help Blizzard make games now. Uh, it's just it's just heartbreaking. It's just like, and it's like I'm not, even as like, I'm not saying I love their games or like, oh, I've played all the games. I'm not a hardcore fan, but it's just like, it's just really sad what this means for like the 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 gaming world, where or the business side of it, where it's like you have these big studios. And it's like we always bitch about EA, where it's like they buy these big studios that make great things, and then they go to EA and they kind of peter out, and then EA closes them. And then we see that with Activision now, where it's just like there's this dude that's put out two phenomenal games for you, and has revived two long dead fucking franchises, and as a reward, like you guys can go help Blizzard make Overwatch 2 levels. And it also makes you like, okay, we're like, how bad are things as bad at Blizzard as we think? Where you hear about, it's like Blizzard has always been able to do its own thing because they were always super successful, with like World of Warcraft and Diablo, and everything they put out was just,
Until they were
people
bought
loved
by
it.
Activision.
Well, even when they merged with Activision, it's like that was like the big thing where people talk about, where like, it's like Activision for the most part left them alone because they were like just pouring in money. It's, with World of Warcraft, like now you've seen like it's still super successful, but it's not what it was when it came out.
No,
And
nowhere
then
near it.
like Diablo 3 is done phenomenally well the last decade.
True. True.
But then they had that, I can't remember what it was, but they had that remake that came out last year, and
It was one of the
just
worst remakes that they
was that
pop.
Warcraft 3.
Yeah, it was so bad that the initial, that for the people that actually bought Warcraft 3, that remaster, it actually replaced, if you had the old game on the computer at that point and stuff like that, it actually replaced, updated over it, and it was a bastardized
Oh,
version of Warcraft 3, and it was one of the worst games that was released over the last year. And a lot of Blizzard fans were very angry about it. And I don't blame them at all, because here you are with an inferior version of a game that you played and enjoyed a lot of back in the day, and it was 10 times better than what Activision, shat out into the freaking wild. It's like, ugh.
yeah. So I was just looking at the list here. I'm scrolling through the list on the Wikipedia page, but yeah, it's just, but they've killed Overwatch. They have that one bungle there with that, and it's like, and it seems like now Activision is slowly like kind of taking over that, and it's just like, instead of like, you have this studio that's doing phenomenally well, instead of giving them their own thing or giving them a different franchise to like, here, make this work. Like you've given us two dead franchises and we've knocked them out of the park. Like, let us make our own thing, or give us something, give us a new challenge. It's like, no, you're just done. We're just gonna have you go over here. It's just like, and it's the total opposite almost of EA, where it's like I was saying, like the EA buys these great businesses, these great game developers, and then makes them make games a certain way with a certain engine that just doesn't work, and it totally goes against everything they are, and then it doesn't work. Surprisingly, it doesn't work out, and then it's like, oh, EA is like, oh, you guys can't do this, and we just close you. And here at Activision, they have the studio, they give them this, they create two great games, and it's like, we're gonna close you anyway. So it's just like, what? It's like, I don't know, like, it's crazy how like you look at like things like Ubisoft is. I mean, right now I would say it's hard to make that argument. For a long time though, they were taking more chances than ever. They've created all these new franchises over the last decade. They totally they tried all these new things, and like you'd argue now, like everything is just all their game they just keep pumping out Watch Dogs and Far Cries and Assassin's Creeds, but like there's still like that certain part of them where like we're getting that Republic, that weird racing game. We got that. We got Mario plus Rabbids. We've gotten all these incredible things that they tried. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they don't work out, but like they try out some, they take chances. You know, it's like,
Right.
but they have these franchises that they, um, they know that it will sell well and do well. But it's like Activision's like they just keep we are a Call of Duty pumping machine. That's all we do, and then we're gonna make. Then we got Blizzard over here. That's just they got World of Warcraft the fall on. We got Overwatch. And it's like like they're not taking drastic chances. It's like
No,
you guys do really well, but you're not pulling in Call of Duty money.
they're more concerned
It's
about
just
microtransactions of established games than
yeah,
they are making
and
new content.
and it's frustrating. Was like you guys are raking in, but they're raking in all this money, but it's just like okay, cool. You guys can take chances. You guys can do some other things, but it's like nah, we're gonna keep just doing that. And it's just like it's so short sighted to me. It feels like where it's just like where it's like you see like I was saying Ubisoft they're making new franchises. They've made all these new franchises. They've rebooted like Far Cry like 1 and 2 like those came and went. They were whatever, and then 3 came out. Bam, blew all. Assassin's Creed same thing. They totally redid everything. They took a year off, totally redid everything. Watch Dogs was something they tried out. Like I was just saying all the other games they've tried out that come like I said there's some that fail. There's that weird um what was that one that had like the Star Fox like the spaceship one that you can like attach shit to
Starlight?
fucking
No.
not Starlight. Fuck.
Freudian
But it's
slip.
on everything.
Let's see. It's something else.
God, but it was only on the Switch. You got the Star Fox one,
Yes,
and
I
it's like
understand.
I own the game. It's literally sitting in my closet unopened with the Star Fox because I bought it for $5. That's because everybody did. But they take these chances. They do some cool shit. Like even EA is they'll do some things every now and then. I mean, not a lot, but they do some stuff. But it's just like I don't know. It's just it's frustrating. It's like they're not investing in the future. They're just pulling out the same shit. If like it doesn't make us $1 billion, we don't give a fuck about it. And it's like you see Blizzard like slowly but surely over the last couple of years, like it's just one bad thing after another has happened for them. And it's like, man, how bad is Overwatch 2? Where they announced the game 2 years ago, and a CG trailer, and I think they said next month we're gonna finally hear some more about it, but it's like we haven't heard anything about it. We don't have a release date. We have nothing about that game.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. It's just it sucks. It's a bummer. Um, it's too bad. It's just it's what it's all the things you hate about big business kind of
Right.
shit. So yeah. Anyways, Gables, what was your thoughts?
Honestly, I was very angry about the whole departure here by Vicarious Visions, considering that they actually released some of the best games in regards from Activision over the past couple of years, in my honest opinion. I mean, look, Vicarious Visions was instrumental in having the Crash Bandicoot remasters, re-releases. Those were pretty damn fun. That actually was pretty great that we're able to get a classic series like Crash Bandicoot, pretty much remaster the entirety of those first 3 games. Then they go on and they make like games like say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, remaster like 1+2 and stuff, and that was fantastic. It was the first time in years where I felt like I was playing Tony Hawk like it's actually supposed to be played, of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I dedicated a lot of time playing that game last year. Beating the first 2 campaigns, it definitely felt like a trip down memory lane with a lot of that stuff. Then Crash 4 was a great success in and of itself as well, and it just feels very somber in terms of that. Now they're absorbed into Blizzard and now going to be focusing upon, well, contributing to whatever the hell type of microtransaction pumped machine, either it be an Overwatch, either it be maybe some bits of Warcraft or whatsoever. Obviously, the people that worked at Vicarious Visions, very talented people, very talented like designers, makers, this and that and stuff. But to get absorbed into that, and all of a sudden it's like be rewarded with, oh, okay, now you're going to go ahead and be absorbed by this. It's absolutely bullshit. It is bullshit because in the gaming industry, it can be so weird to like one game or 1 or 2 games may make or break a company. But even if a company does well and create some great games or actually revitalize franchises, which that's what Vicarious Visions end up helping do. They revitalized Crash Bandicoot, revitalized Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and now they're gone. They're basically fodder for like Warcraft, from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah. It's just sad day in game development. It's one of those things where like nothing ever. It's like The thing I heard a lot was like there was it's something it's true. It's like no good news comes on Fridays.
No.
You know, it's like especially like in businesses like this where like closings or layoffs something like that, they always announce it on a Friday because they just hope that everybody's going on the weekend. It's Friday. A lot of people won't recognize it or won't talk about it, and by Monday something else will happen and we'll forget about it. It's kind of and it's just kind of sad that I mean I guess on one hand they didn't close the studio, and 200 people have jobs, which is good. It's not like the kind of thing we're used to where it's like yeah we just fucking we just laid out a bunch of people. It's like even Activision just 2 years ago they record profits and they lay off 1,000 people.
Yeah, they laid off a large part of their workforce in that
Yeah,
company and stuff, and they recorded record profits because, of course, they did.
yeah. But it's like we didn't make enough. We're having the best year ever, but we're not making enough money. Um, but anyways, moving on to some weird news. This was like the big thing I was gonna lead with, and it very weird. Where it's like, like I kind of mentioned last week with my job I have now. It's very hard for me to. Um, I don't spend a lot of time online throughout the day, so I kind of heard this news. I'm like, what? I didn't have a lot of details on it, and then by the time I got home and kind of hopped on the internet again, I'm like, it changed. I'm like, oh okay, it went back to normal. So Microsoft increased the price of Xbox Live Gold from $60 a year to $120 a year, and it's just there's a lot to tackle here. Going into that, fucking nuts, and then everybody lost their goddamn minds, and then I don't know, it was like super late on a Friday. It was like 11 o'clock at night my time. They like, oh never mind, we're not doing that. And on top of that, we're gonna take the free to play stuff that we hide behind our paywall, and now we just make it so everybody can play it. So something it was so funny. Like when I was thinking about it, it's like when like you get in an argument with somebody, but like you're arguing about you're going back and forth on the thing you're upset about,
Right.
but then it's like you get to the point in your argument where like now everything I'm upset about I'm just gonna start bringing it up now. I'm gonna talk about shit that happened 6 months ago, kind of that I didn't talk about then, but it's eating me to the core kind of thing.
Right.
And it's like that's how I felt like with the whole free to play thing, where people on the internet were mad, rightfully so,
Very
rightfully
true.
so. But it's like, hey, while we're bitching about it, why do you keep free to play shit behind a paywall, kind of thing? And so like that's how I felt about it. Where it's like people have been mad for hours, and it's like now we're okay. Now we're just gonna bring up everything we're upset about, and it's just like it's very true. It's kind of a dumb thing where like Sony and Nintendo and fucking Nintendo doesn't hide free to play games behind their paywall.
That's very true.
Um, Nuts. If you're behind the eight ball on Nintendo when it comes to something, besides having great first party games, you're doing something wrong especially when it comes to the internet. Um, so, anyways, they announced that price. Then so basically, it's like people were like, so I'd pay $120 a year to fucking play Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone or play Madden or whatever. Um, People lost their fucking minds. Like I said, rightfully so. And they went back, kept it out as is. Um, a lot of people were talking about it's like, well, to be fair, this is just their way of, getting them to get Game Pass. I'm like, that's fucking dumb.
It is.
That's so stupid. Like, we're gonna give you this. Here's the best deal in gaming, guys. Xbox Game Pass, great fucking deal. I think Game Pass is a really cool thing. I've played some really good games. 2 of my top 10 games from last year were games I played because of Game Pass.
Right.
Street Rage 4 and Battletoads.
Yep.
Same with you. And like we have the best deal in gaming, so we're giving you the shittiest deal in gaming to make you get the best deal in gaming. And I'm like, that's so you went from okay, so we're paying $60 a month, so that's on average $5 a month. But you want to keep that thing you already have, but we're gonna make you get this other thing. But now you gotta pay $15 a month. Now it's $180. Well, that's people don't want to pay the extra, $10 a month. So let's just make it so it's $10 a month now. So they have to get it. So at that point they'll just go ahead and jump up and get it. And it's just like if that's your mindset behind it, then you're not doing it. If you don't feel like you have enough people going from gold to Game Pass Ultimate, that is, that's something you're doing wrong. Not, I mean, you're there. I mean, don't wrong. Like you turn on fucking Xbox, you can't not know about Game Pass, but there's something you're not doing to make people go ahead and just convert over, and like it's easy to. I think one of the things is like I could just pay $60 one time and I don't have to worry about it for a year. When it's like The most you can do with Game Pass is you pay $45 for 3 months, or so you can find deals every now and again. Like I found uh, a deal and I bought a year's worth for $120 because I found like it was 3 months for $30. But like if you're smart and you wait and you're patient, you can find deals. But for people that just want to play Madden or play 2K or play Call of Duty or whatever, like it's so stupid to me, and I hated that argument for people where it's like this is stupid, but to be fair, this is what they're trying to do. I'm like, no, there's no fairness around it. It's like you just it's not this isn't like people bitched about the $10 price increase from 50 to 60, and
Yep.
like I mean that sucks, but it's like it's $10. It's $10 for a year. This is double, and it's like
Hmm.
especially right now, this is a bad, it's like we're in a pandemic. People are hurting. Blah blah blah. It's the same shit we've all. I mean, that's not to gloss over, but I mean, it's just everybody knows we're in a global pandemic. Times are hard for a lot of people, um, and it's like this is and people are home more than ever. So a lot of people are probably gaming right now more than ever. It's because
Hmm.
they're stuck at home, and it's like now you guys, we're gonna fucking capitalize on that. And it's like I was thinking about like, okay, like I was one point paying $10 a month for Netflix. Now I'm paying. They just upped my price again. Now I'm paying $18 a month for Netflix. But you know what? I was paying $10 a month for Netflix in 2008. 2000, so we're talking $8 increase over 13 years.
Yep.
That's a dollar or two here and there, whatever. Netflix is a lot bigger than what it was in 2008. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong or whatever, but that's a big fucking jump from 60 to 120. Big fucking massive difference. Um, Even if you do the monthly thing and do it, whatever. It's just I don't know. I I've been talking about for so long about Xbox has nailed consumerism with people with saying all the right things for 4 years. And it's like they just need the games. And we've been saying that they just need the games for a long time.
Yep.
But it's like everything else is fucking phenomenal. Like and this just feels like Phil Spencer. Whenever Phil Spencer is on my TV, I'm just happy because he's just a bright, cheerful, lovely. He just seems like a nice, awesome guy.
Right.
And maybe it's all business bullshit, but he's just really good at his job and making you feel like it's like he gives you that Reggie Fils-Aimé vibes. It's like, oh right, cool, Phil's here, everything's gonna be all right. And like back during the Xbox One era when we had I think Don Matrick, and it's just like that, sports, sports, sports. All we don't fuck the gamers. This is all we care about. And dumb move after dumb move after dumb move. And this felt like a Don Matrick kind of thing, where it's like the dark days of Xbox kind of shit, where it's like all the worst things that came out of Xbox. He's the guy that put Xbox in the hole it was in. They even got to this point where they are now. It just felt like he just came back from not the grave, but from like he had some like deal. He's like, I can make one decision after like his contract at any point in time. He's like, this is it. I'm gonna fucking double the price of Xbox Live Gold. Um,
You just see Don Matrick just go through and just rise from his like
yeah,
Zunga, like freaking grave or something like that. It's like,
oh yeah, because that's right. He left
oh, I
there.
have one wish left. It's time to increase Xbox Live.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I think like yeah, 'cause and then like after like he left Xbox to go there, and then they like fired him like a year later, but he got
Yeah,
like a $50 million buyout for his fucking contract,
I know, right?
so he's doing fine. So I don't know. It's just I love everything Xbox is doing. I and not say this isn't. People were saying this was comparative to like the Xbox One E3 press conference, which I don't think it's that bad, and it
No.
helped that. And I'm gonna give them some credit, just a little tiny bit of credit, not a lot, just a little bit, about them changing their minds. Like, hey, we hear you. This is what's going on. We fucked up. I love the fact they're willing to admit they fucked up because a lot of times, if Sony did this, I don't think they would have changed their mind.
No, they
You
wouldn't.
know,
No, this is
and if
Sony? No, no,
yeah,
no.
and Nintendo would have done this, they wouldn't have changed their mind. It's like fuck you, you'll
Yeah.
pay for it. We know you will. It's like so. I give all credit where credit's due on that part, but not a lot, just a little bit. Um, you know, uh, but yeah, I don't know. It's just wow, what a day Friday was. What'd you think, Gables, when you saw all this?
Well, honestly, like everyone else I thought they were fucking out of their minds. Like it was like, okay, you're gonna increase the price of Xbox Live Gold from 60 to 120, and at the same point, it's like I understood. It's like, oh, I know, I understand you want people to go buy a Game Pass, but this is the complete wrong way to tackle that. That's my initial impression that I had with it. Then I read ahead like hours later in the same day. It's like not even 12 hours later, they just go through. It's like, well, yeah, we fucked up on our end and stuff. We're not only doing that, but we're gonna also take away the bar so you can play free to play games without having to pay for gold. And all the while, I'm thinking to myself, it's like they couldn't have actually been that dumb, right? They couldn't have possibly have done something. There's got to be more to this than that. Some sort of psychological warfare sort of crap. But at the same time, I'm looking at it. It's like, you know what? Maybe I'm giving them a little. Maybe I'm giving Microsoft a little bit too much credit with that regards, because at the same time, they managed to accomplish two things. One, they got people talking about what they were doing, and second, there was something good that did come from it, and that was the whole, oh, okay, we're taking away the bar that should have been taken away in the first place, which was barring people from playing free to play games unless they buy Xbox Live Gold. Not even Nintendo does that. And
Yeah,
that's saying something in that regards, where both
like I
Sony,
said,
yeah,
sorry, like I said, if you're behind the eight ball on Nintendo when it comes to internet something, you're doing something wrong. But go on.
yeah, I agree. And the thoughts throughout my mind before they retracted their mounts was like, here I am. I have my Xbox One and stuff like that. I mean, I have Game Pass and this and that and stuff. It's like I do not want to pay $120 for fucking my year of Xbox Live. I mean, what would I use it for God's sakes? I mean, I don't play online games all that much, and at the same time, it's like, you know what? I pay $120 for that. It's like you pay 60 or something like that for the PlayStation Network, and then also you pay 20 for Nintendo, and it's like, or you could just play online for free on the PC. And I thought to myself, it's like, am I really going to be a Switch and PC gamer if this keeps on going up? I actually had those thoughts in my head. It's like I was like this close away, because of that one announcement. It's like, you know what? Do I really need this Xbox long term?
Yeah,
But fortunately, yes, they did go through and retrack and redid a lot of the stuff that they had messed up. And that just kind of brings up another question entirety. It's like you see Microsoft showing interest in increasing online subscriptions now with more people being at home. That almost seems to tell me it's like I know they want to get rid of Xbox Live Gold because they want to focus on Game Pass, but maybe we're getting to that point where major gaming like major gaming companies say like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo may itch towards this whole like almost like a Game Pass sort of narrative and using that as an excuse in order to increase prices to a certain amount. I mean, Microsoft did it the wrong way, which was double the price of gold in order to entice gamers to get the Game Pass. But if they did it another way where they just eliminated the $60 a year option and just say, oh, you know what, it's just going to be bundled in with Game Pass, I think there would have been some people that would have been up in arms, but at the same time, not a lot of people would have been really complaining to the magnitude that they did with this announcement last Friday.
yeah. And that's a good point too. Where it's like, I mean, just a few months ago, we were talking about like when they got rid of the 12-month cards, they went away. It's just like, a lot of people were like, is that the end? Are we getting rid of gold, or is it just like, are they gonna make gaming free online, or is it gonna be like a whole, like, is this Game Pass gonna be it? And I'm like, a lot of people were like even mentioning like, oh, just if you want to double the price, just get rid of Xbox Live Gold and just make me a Game Pass. I'm like, that's not a good option either. Like, taking away options is not a good argument to me.
No,
It's
the
like,
biggest strength of Microsoft right now is having a lot of different options for people to
yeah,
choose by. If people just want to buy online $60 a year, they can do that. If they want to go ahead and just get solely Game Pass, they can do that. If they want to go through and do like a subscription sort of thing, or maybe even if rumor has it they want to do just a streaming thing to their PC and this and that, they could do that. And what's also funny, if they kept on their laurels with what they were changing, what gamers could have actually done is like they have Game Pass for PC. You don't even have to pay
yeah,
online to play games through Game Pass on
yeah.
PC.
and that's like that. Like that's what's really funny about it. It's like you're doing this whole thing, but you're only fucking over the Xbox people. You're not fucking like your
Yes,
most
Xbox
loyal fan
console
base.
owners.
It's like yeah, like this doesn't even affect the fucking the PC gamers. It's
No.
like we don't have to have gold. We just play. We can just get Game Pass and play, or we could just buy Halo Infinite and just play when that game comes out,
Yep.
and don't have to have Game Pass. Don't have gold. Don't have anything. We can just buy the game from you and we're good. And it's just like the whole thing is baffling. This isn't like Sony thing where it's like their games are tied to only Sony thing. Like eventually, yeah, like Death Stranding and Horizon come to PC years later, but there's no multiplayer component to those. But it's like yeah, everything about this move, it just there's I can't find a good argument for it. Like oh yeah, well they're just trying to make people go to Game Pass. Well that's fucking dumb. It's a dumb way to go about it. Well just get rid of Game Pass or get rid of Golden. No, that's fucking dumb too. Just keep it as is. Or if you maybe anything, just increase it like 10, like make it $70 a year. I don't know. I understand it. Shit goes up. Everything goes up on my paycheck. That's what my dad always says, and that's very true. Fucking 6 years ago, milk was $2 a gallon. Now it's almost four.
Yep.
You know, shit goes up. I mean, everything everything goes up in price. I understand that's how shit works. Minimum wage doesn't go up, but everything else goes up. Um, except for where Gables lives, some bitch.
Yeah, the
Uh,
highest minimum wage, but at the same time, we pay out the ass for everything else.
yeah, yeah, but yeah. Anyways, it's just I don't know. It's just I can't think of every argument I've heard people try to make about it. It's not even like I'm not even trying to say it's Xbox fanboys or Xbox or whatever. It's just people trying to like make an argument for it. And it's like that. No, that
No,
like there's
there's no
no.
argument for
I
that.
can't hear a good argument that like has a solid ground. But anyways, moving on to some Sony news here. So there's been this long-standing rumor about this. Like it's like an open secret kind of thing where like no one acknowledges it, but we all know it exists kind of thing. Where like San Diego, Sony has created a new studio in San Diego, uh, and it's been a rumor for a while now that they're working on the next the so there's the studio is working to expand upon existing franchises, and the rumor's always been it's an Uncharted game because Naughty Dog after four that was kind of the wrap up with the franchise, well, other than Lost Legacy, but that was a wrap up with Nathan Drake as we know him. Uh, and then there was a LinkedIn profile from a former studio head who had that. Um, so let's see here. Michael Mumbauer worked at PlayStation as a studio head until November 2020, and a segment on his profile detailing his work with the new San Diego team. His latest achievement is having built a brand new all-star AAA action adventure development team for PlayStation based in San Diego and utilizing proprietary engine technology. Excuse me, this team was assembled to expand upon existing franchises and craft all new stories for the next generation of gamers. So it's really weird, that this has been going on. I think this rumor came out about a year and a half ago that they were making that there was a new studio that Sony has basically built. But it's so weird where like they haven't actually like acknowledged it yet. Where I remember like uh, Xbox like built there's I can't remember the people that are making the Perfect Dark game. I can't remember the name of all the top of my head right now. But
Mm.
like Xbox as soon as they had the studio up and going, like they announced that it was this is our quadruple A studio here. That's all it's an all star developers. Like they talked about it like the moment they fucking started going there, boom. Like we're talking about, we're pumping them up. It's just weird that like we're just it's just like it's a thing we're just not acknowledging. But I don't know. I mean, I like and some people are like, oh, maybe it's infamous, maybe it's this or that. But it's like our Killzone or Resistance. But it's like it makes most sense. You, at least going into this generation or in this time right now, where it's like maybe eventually those franchises can come back, but I feel like those franchises are dead, especially Killzone, where the fact that the website is no longer existent anymore. They got rid of
Yeah.
it's closed now. Like that tells me that the franchise is dead. Um, it makes the most sense if you think about an existing franchise that developers like those lead developers that created it are no longer working on it. Uncharted makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's the one that maybe it's like that's the one I want the most. Obviously, of any of those, if they have another one of, but I don't know. Give us what's your thoughts on possibly getting more Uncharted games?
It'd be interesting to see what direction they go into it. And if Naughty Dog's not working on it, I'm also interested in seeing how the game quality would feel. That's definitely something to keep in mind. But I'd welcome the fact that there's a new Uncharted game, but how that would work, I'm really interested in seeing how it would.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious. Like, part of me like it's just it's so like we both love the Uncharted games.
Hmm.
I believe on that the year in 2016 when the last one came out, that was your game of the year.
Yes, it was
Um,
fantastic game.
and yeah, and that was I think I want to say it was like my number two game for that year, number three. It was definitely in my top three. So I would love the idea of getting more. I mean, it'd be different getting one that's not um, Naughty Dog, obviously, but like just I don't know. Uh, I don't want them to. I don't want anything from the future of like Nathan Drake after four. I feel like where we left it there should just be where we leave it. You know, like I don't really need them to do much more with that franchise as far as he goes. Like I feel like his story's done. Like, if anything, you want to tell some stuff that happened in between other events. Okay, like I'm fine with that. But if it has anything post four, I don't want. But like a Sully game could be cool, or something more with Chloe and Nadine, something like that. Like I'd be all for. Like I'm very open to the idea of more of those games. 'Cause those games are just in general, they're just fun to play,
Right.
and but it's like even like Lost Legacy not having Nathan Drake in it was like it's still a very good game, and those characters are still um, really well told. I mean, obviously, I think Naughty Dog is maybe the best out there right now when it comes to um, talking about like what their characters and the stories and what they build. And I think they're definitely the top tier. But it's like I feel like I trust, and obviously I'm turning into a little bit of a fanboy with some of these, but like I with especially with Sony, but it's like I trust them and what they're gonna do, and I don't for the most like the games that they make they brought back, and like I feel like right now they're on par with Nintendo, and like they don't have that long tenure obviously as Nintendo with their franchises, but like I feel like that there's that we always talk about the Nintendo factor with their games where like they're just different from everything else, and they're just there's a feel to them. There's something. There's everything. They always have something about them that just joy and fun. And I
Mm.
feel like Sony of the last decade, really, sometime in the PS3 era, my camera just went out again. I don't know why,
Huh.
but on the stream, but I feel like they are right there with them, right there with Nintendo on that art with that factor where there's just when a game comes out, it's gonna be quality, and like are they all 9 out of 10s? No, but same as like you got those good B games out there that that are perfectly fine. You got those you got you have those Lost Legacies, you have those uh, Days Gones, you have games like that. Just like Nintendo has games like that too. But I whenever they put a game out, or whenever they talk about it, I trust them that game's gonna be good. It's gonna be quality. It might not be my game, but it's gonna be good. And it's gonna be quality. So I'm all for it, and I trust really whatever they do or decide. So moving on though to our very last topic here, we have one of my favorite things to talk about every month. We have the MPDs, Gables,
Mm.
um, and I think we also have the top selling games for all of 2020. But I'm gonna say that for I think I might say that for next week because we're going pretty long here.
Okay.
But these are the MPDs for December 2020. I'm gonna start from 20 like I always do, and we're going up. So speaking of Vicarious Visions, number 20, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, 1 and plus 2. Number
Mm.
19, Cyberpunk 2077, which the Cyberpunk sales does not include digital. It came out today or yesterday that Cyberpunk had the greatest digital launch of all time for games.
Wow.
They had sold, including refunds, over 13 million copies. So number 19, Cyberpunk 2077. Number 18, MLB The Show 20. Number 17, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. That's fucking weird. Number 16, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 15, FIFA 21. Number 14, Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 13, NBA 2K21. Number 12, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 11, Marvel's Avengers. Number 10, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Number 9, Super Mario 3D All Stars. Number 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 7, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 6, Last of Us Part 2. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Number 4, Madden NFL 21. Number 3, Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Number 2, Call of Duty: Modern Warfare. Number 1, Call of Duty: Black Ops. Gables, what's your thoughts on this list here?
To be perfectly honest, this is really by the numbers. There's not really too many surprises during this last month in that regards in terms of sales. It's kind of like what I was kind of expecting. Obviously, the backlash for Cyberpunk 2077, that thing has, it's understandable why it's sold kind of lower than what initially probably would have been. Like at 19, it still sold fairly well in regards to the brick and mortar stores, but yeah, number 19, yeah. But otherwise, some of the other games I completely understand where the spots they're at right at the moment. Like, for example, Spider-Man Miles Morales, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're talking about the whole Christmas season stuff, so people are getting gifts and that. Marvel's Avengers, that's been kind of discounted, like in a lot of brick
Yeah.
and mortar retail stuff because of how its online is. Let's see, Super Mario 3D All Stars, no brainer. Mario Kart 8, no brainer. Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, both actually had price reductions leading up to the holidays as well. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and you know what? The obviously Madden, that's fine. Animal Crossing remaining very strong in regards to its sales to end out the year. Still waiting upon their last major update in terms of what they've had for January, personally, but Call of Duty, no surprise there. Number one and number two in terms of games for sales. So the only really big surprise, if you want to call it a big surprise, is like, okay, Cyberpunk 2077, very low on the list. But like I was stating before, the games that at the positions I can completely understand because it's either holidays or some sort of online fiasco or some sort of like launch fiasco, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait a second. You know what, Gables?
But
This is not December MPDs.
what is it?
This is the top 20 selling games of 2020. I read the wrong list. This is the best selling games of the whole year. That makes way more sense why Modern Warfare is number 2. I was just reading the top part
Oh,
again.
here we
Like,
go.
oh fuck, yeah. So where's the MPDs for December? Oh wow. Well, my apologies there, people. Yeah. Okay. I pulled up the wrong list here. That changes everything. Um, wow. Okay. That's even more impressive that
That's
Cyberpunk 2077 is number 19,
yeah.
only being out for 3 weeks. Wow, that's a totally different argument here.
I thought it was actually from last month, but no,
Yeah,
this is for the year. Holy
yeah.
crap!
Well, that's why like when I said Dragon Ball Z Kakarot at 17, I'm like, that's weird. Why the fuck did that just pop up in December when it came out last January? Like that. Um, okay. But yeah, look at it. I mean, like we were just talking about Vicarious Visions, Tony Pro Creator plus 1+2, fucking number 20 for the entire year.
Yeah,
For gaming. That's I mean I'm not, that's not I mean is it phenomenal? No, but you look at they had 3 games in the top 10 the top 20 list. Activision did, and one the other 2 were Call of Duty and 1 and 2. Just argument point even more. They have Call of Duty. That's all they fucking have. And Blizzard. Uh, but it's just phenomenal here. Like almost how many Nintendo games are here? We got Animal Crossing 3,
right.
uh, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 8. Number 9, Mario 3D All Stars. Smash Bros. Ultimate, number 14. We got what? 1, 2, 3, 4 games in the top 20, or 4 in the top 14 here. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we got Last of Us Part 2 at 6, Ghost of Tsushima at 7. Uh, Miles Morales at 12. That's incredible for being a game that came out in mid-November.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, you got what? You got 4 uh, PlayStation games. It's wow, just incredible. I mean, it's still kind of like you're saying. What it's just nothing really super duper surprising here. When it comes to all this, where you look at like all the biggest games that come out this year that always AAA games that always do really well did really well.
right.
Just incredible to see Animal Crossing, be out there and be number 3. Get that's only digital. That's only digital Cables.
That's only
Like that's what.
digital.
Yeah, that's only like when you got there. It's number 3. Who knows how much you're talking about? Because Nintendo and Take Two don't reveal digital games. Take Two just stopped sometime this year doing digital games, which is why Grand Theft Auto 5 has fallen off the top 20 list. Because
Wow.
there was that streak it was in it every month for like 60 something months in a row or something like that,
Wow.
and that's why it's no longer in the top 20 list is because they sometime this year they stopped showing off digital sales. So like, you see like NBA 2K21 at 13, guarantee that game is if you include digital probably in that top 10 somewhere.
Yep.
That's just it's incredible what Cyberpunk 2077. If you include digital, I mean it's the greatest digital launch of all time. I'd love to see where that would rank in here if we just had everything equal ground. And this is all based off money of dollars earned, not copies sold. So I mean that makes sense why you see some Nintendo games in there because those games are never on sale. Sometimes you get lucky, you might find them for $40, or in Gable's case, find them for $10. But yeah, um, incredible, just incredible. Um, that shocks me. Marvel's Avengers, number 11 for the year, and that game still lost like $60 million.
Yeah, and then
Um,
you have Spider-Man Miles Morales right under it that had a lot shorter of a
six
time out
weeks.
in the market, and yet still managed to almost eclipse Marvel's
Yeah,
Avengers.
yeah. Who knows where it would have been if it, I mean, a game that was out for 4 months compared to a game that was out for 6 weeks. Um, some other news out of it. A new record for video games sales, $57 billion in revenue in all categories across the year. That's 27% higher than last year. Also helps the fact that you had new hardware and a global pandemic in that sense.
Mm,
With everybody being stuck at home, we've all been talking about all year just how Nintendo has done this year. They have in the gaming platform, nobody's done better than them. Uh, you got like I said, Call of Duty 1 and 2 this year. Nintendo was responsible for 87% of console sales in Japan in 2020.
wow,
87%. Uh,
that's almost the entire freaking market.
yeah, I want to find the December list, but half of the top 20 best-selling games of December 2020 were published by Nintendo. So 10 of the 20 games that came in the month of December were Nintendo games on that top 20 list. Um, Animal Crossing achieved the highest physical sales dollar sales for Nintendo. Does make sense. Uh, it is of all time actually eclipsing in a calendar year, eclipsing Wii Fit Plus in 2010. Um,
Wow.
so some other CD Projekt Red previously confirmed that Cyberpunk sold over 13 million copies, but the suit doesn't share digital sales. Despite that, the game still performed well through its physical sales. Um, see here, Last was Part Two. I'm just reading some fun facts here. Last Part Two finished 2020's as the year's best-selling PlayStation exclusive, while also ranking as the sixth best-selling title overall. Last was Part Two now ranks as the third best-selling Sony published game in U.S. history, trailing only Spider-Man and God of War. I didn't know that. I didn't know God of War
Mm.
was number one. I thought Spider-Man was still number one. Um, yeah, so some it's incredible how 2020 turned out. It's like I said, like a lot of stuff that we're used to seeing on here, but um, still kind of it's always the things that we're not used to seeing are the things that pop up that are always the most
Right.
fascinating to me. Yeah, pretty great year. I'll find December's for next week. I didn't realize I grabbed the overall. I'll actually want to do overall next week, and then December's this week. But yeah, really great year. Wow. But Gables, that is it for our topics for this week. Here's part where we talk about what we've been playing. Gables, you been playing anything cool this week?
Oh, let's see. I have my little thing in front of me, a little notebook. So basically, what I was doing is I delved more into Tawaga, like Among Shadows. I went through and I finished that game. I actually beat that game. What's interesting about it, it's like I was stating before previously, it's sort of like you control like the directions of where you shoot and stuff with the right analog stick. And also, I did mention that I did pick up the game while it was on the eShop sale at that point for their beginning of the year sale for like $2.24. It is it's a solid 4 to 5 hour experience. There are a lot of fun things I love about it, where it's like you get a bunch of different powers, a bunch of different like type of upgrades through the various like currency and stuff that you earn through beating levels and doing this and doing that. There are certain like aspects of like little achievements that unlock while you're earning a bunch of these like points through either completing levels or going to the various modes and stuff. I completely maxed out all the stats of my character, and then for some of his secondary like magic abilities and stuff, I fully did like the whole like flame like lava slug sort of thing where it like stuns enemies inside of a specific amount of radius, and then I focused on the wind repel element because I was having a lot more success with the default magic power than I was with some of the other ones.
Hmm.
But all in all, I went through the main campaign of Tawaga. I kid you not, maybe about 2 or 3 times. I want to say in that regards. Plus, after you get done with that, there is like the void sort of like sections to where it's just a standard like 20. It's like the same thing as the regular campaign. I think it was initially DLC content that was with the game's initial release, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm really not 100% sure. However, there's like 20 additional levels you can actually go through, and I zoomed past those because at that point my character was almost maxed out with the stats and everything. Really love the challenge of it. There's definitely a lot of things. There's definitely a lot of fun to be had with Tawaga, and I would highly recommend for people if you want to check out this game, watch a couple videos on YouTube at first, but it is very colorful. The gameplay is very solid. There's like little hiccups like here and there, like frame rate wise, when you're starting up the screen, the title screen or something like that, going into the initial menus and this and that. But the gameplay is not really that hindered. It's available, I believe, on Steam, on PS4, on Switch, but yeah, this is a game where I found myself very much enjoying, and I feel like this is the first major game of 2021, which I very much enjoyed. Knocked that out of the park. But as far as other games, on occasion I like to go onto the NES app on my Switch, and I decide to just try out some random games. And so there's one NES game I was chipping away at off and on, and that was Tecmo Bowl.
Hmm.
So Tecmo Bowl is an old football game back around the 1980s that's actually available to play through streaming on the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, I picked the San Francisco team because, yeah, Niners, and went through the various teams. What's kind of hilarious is I was, like I said, I've been chipping away at playing the football games and stuff like that on that game ever since the Switch app came out, quintessentially. So I managed to get a couple games, one here and there and stuff, and now I actually finally went into the playoff stuff. So I beat Cleveland before like 51 to something before going into like the playoffs and stuff. And what's kind of hilarious is like I faced the Washington football team on the first round of the playoffs, and then and what's interesting about it is it'll go through like this little roulette like sort of selection. So sometimes they'll actually mix up like what team gets selected, what you face next. So it's all randomized and stuff. And there was two teams left. It's like one was Chicago and the other was Miami. And I'm like, okay, well, tried a couple different times against both teams. Had to go through because the AI was being a real big jerk when it came to selecting certain plays. What's kind of interesting is like even when you have selection to 4 plays at a time of both offense and defense, the AI is programmed to where it will go to like maybe 1 or 2 plays, and you have to figure out what plays they'll use repeatedly and how you can try to counter them. So, in of itself, it is sort of similar to like a puzzle game and a sports game sort of aesthetic, where you're presented with less options than an actual football game like a Madden or this or that. But it's a lot easier to get into that regards because once I figured out what Chicago was doing, and that was to they had like basically 3 plays out of the 4 being passed, and they're like at the corners like of the field, so they're either like doing like a 4 wide receiver spread or something like that, where sometimes it'll be like a crossing route going over, like after like maybe 5 yards and cross over this or that. I decided just to control one player in my secondary, and whenever they would try to use that sort of a play, I go right in front of the receiver. And if your player stands right in front of like a wide receiver and stuff, they'll automatically intercept the ball and do this
Hmm.
and do that. That's how I had some of my most frustrating moments with Tecmo Bowl because there'd be times where I feel like I would have gotten the playoff like very early, very strategic, and no matter what, if they even get a hit above my wide receiver, they pick off the ball, and I'm like, oh come on. But I managed to beat Chicago, and what's hilarious, the final game, the Super Bowl, was San Francisco and Miami. So that is a callback to the 1980s when those two teams did meet. It was a
Mm.
blowout back then, but yeah, that game pretty much went like almost to be expected and stuff, to where it was very competitive and stuff. But I think I ended up beating them by at least 10 to 14 points in that regards. But it was the same strategy that I used against the Chicago team previously, to where the AI chose more or less more passing plays than opposed to like the rushing plays. So I kept on just on my fastest corner that I had available. So my fastest cornerback, I select him, wait if I can get like some interception or two, and I think I ended up turning over the ball like 3 times. It's up into my favor. So
Nice.
it was a fun time. I've never played through Tecmo Bowl. I've heard it was a great game. First time I ever played it was back around, I want to say, first when the Switch game, actually, the Switch, this is NES app, first released. So I had a chance to play that. And, just for kicks, I decided to power on the original Castlevania through that Castlevania collection thing. I went through that, obviously, and it's kind of like as you would expect, it's classic game. I played through Castlevania last October on stream, and I did the same thing for playing through the original Castlevania on its collection thing on the Switch. Because you know what? Classic games are good, in my honest opinion. Big fan of the old school Castlevania games. Okay, so the last thing I did in terms of gameplay, I decided to play a little bit more and screw around a little bit more in terms of playing Dragon Ball Fighters, get a little bit more acquainted with some of the DLC characters. I did complete a couple more character trials. So that in and of itself I felt was a very good step forward, because I'd had a long break away from that game. I have all the DLC now. There's like one more character left in the wing that I'm not sure when it's going to be released, but I feel like the game is going to be wrapping up in terms of their DLC characters. Like this, the game in general is going to be wrapping up pretty soon, because from the smashing success Dragon Ball Fighters was, I'm very hopeful that there's going to be a sequel announced
Mm-hmm.
for this damn game, because it's a no-brainer at this point. Game plays really fantastic. I was just having a ball over the past week trying up the combo trials for like characters like Master Roshi, Ultra Instinct Goku, like Videl, and of course Super Baby 2.
My
But
favorite.
it's oh man, it's so fun, because the best parts for me when you're learning the ins and outs of a fighting game is trying out the different characters and going to their combo tutorials, like how you execute some of their various combos, and then discovering, okay, how do I get into this combo from a match perspective? Okay, maybe I have to do a little bit of poking kicks or something like that, because crouch kick attacks and stuff sometimes lead into performing like some of the basic tricks. And online, or if you're facing off against somebody like in real life, in terms of playing against them in a fighting game, the quickest way you can go through and gain an advantage is not only do like a lot of trial and error in terms of waiting and blocking, but sometimes they'll do something called like footsies, to where you can go through maybe like do a little chip damage here, chip damage there. But when you catch your opponent off guard with like a down light kick, like a crouching light kick or whatever the hell, and you're able to combo it into something a little bit more significant, that feels incredibly amazing to me. I've done that sometimes online while playing Dragon Ball Fighters, but the biggest thrill I get while playing fighting games, learning how to use a character, learning how to perfect their moves, and also learning how to implement some of the combos into something in an actual match. But like I've said previously at the start of this episode, it's like I picked up a couple of Switch games for dirt cheap. I have plenty of games now that I can go through on the PS4 or the Switch. So next week is going to be something new. I'm going to be starting a new game fairly soon. So it's something to look forward to for next week.
Very nice. Very nice. I picked up a game. I bought Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I haven't played it
Ah,
yet. It
yes.
came out. It's just got re-released. Um, So I haven't played, like I said, I haven't played yet, but I plan on jumping into that here soon. Uh, the other thing I played, I talked about last week, I started playing Death Stranding again.
Okay.
Um, Gables,
Uh.
I played it for a few more hours,
Uh huh.
and I was all fucking in, baby. I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
okay, the gameplay, a little frustrating, but it's a little bit better. It's a little easier now. I got on easy. It's not so frustrating. I'm doing okay. I had one point where I had to do this very long trek. I had to go all the way north and go all the way around this mountain. We get here to talk to. There's a character named Mama because she has a baby, and we
Okay.
just call her Mama because it's Kojima. And she had to go. It's like, I need you to go talk to this person and get them on board with us because she has the upgrade we need to make things better for us to connect America together. And I'm like, all right, so walk all the way around this goddamn mountain. Took me hours. Get around there, talk to her. She's like, no, fuck you. I'm like, all right, well, you need to go talk to Mama again. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I gotta walk all the way around this goddamn fucking mountain to go talk to Mama. So I gotta fucking walk all the way the fuck around, get right back to goddamn Mama, and then she's like, all right, well, we're gonna go talk to her. I need you to carry me. I'm like, motherfucker, you have 2 legs. Why do I have to fucking carry you? So, anyways, I had to carry Mama over across, do the same fucking thing I just fucking did. Go all the way around the fucking mountain, Gables. All the way around the fucking mountain, Gables. Again, go around. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm climbing the mountain.
Did you throw her from the train?
I wanted, if I could have, I would have. I drowned her on multiple occasions. I drowned her on multiple occasions. First couple times, not on purpose. Third or fourth time, on purpose. Like, because I try to cross the lake and I'm like, oh, it's too rapid. You fall and you lose all your shit. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, and then she died because couldn't catch her in time.
Okay.
So then I did it again on purpose. And I'm like, fuck you. You have 2 legs. Stand the fuck up. I stood the fuck up. Just stand the fuck up. No, you gotta drown. Worthless. So, anyways, do all the shit. Spoilers for this fucking game. I'm in like chapter 7. I was in chapter 3. I'm in chapter 7. Finally get there. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not walking all the way around. And like, even driving. So it got better because you can drive. But everything's on batteries. And then the terrain's so fucking rocky and bumpy. You hit a fucking pebble and your bike just stops. And it's like you lose all your momentum. And you're just stuck at this fucking pebble. And you got to go around the fucking pebble. And then you got to go. And then there's 3 feet later, not a fucking pebble. There's just pebbles everywhere. Like your bike can't go over any of them. It's built for delivery, but it can't go over pebbles. Um, so, anyways, I fuck, I hate this goddamn game. I finally I'm like, fuck, I'm climbing the mountain. I'm just gonna cut through. Spent an hour trying to get over this. Fuck, just kept sliding down. Lost all my stamina. My boots wore out. Didn't work anymore. I'm fucked. Fuck. So, anyways, I said, fuck it. After an hour trying to climb over this mountain, I'm just gonna go around. It's boring as fuck. Finally went around. Hated every minute of it. Get all the way there. She fucking dies. But she joined the network now. I'm like, fuck this game. I deleted it again. I deleted it again, Gables. I deleted it again. I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm like, oh my god. I had a eureka moment. I'm like, I get it now. And it's the same fucking thing. I love these cutscenes. I love the characters. I love all of it. I hate playing this game. It's awful. It's so like it makes it worse because now I put it on easy, so it makes it easier to get from point A to point B. But it's so fucking boring getting from point A to point B. But the other way, it's just so fucking frustrating to get to point A to point B and boring. So the I want to love it. It hurts. It hurts so bad, Gables. Like, especially where I got to the point where I'm like, I get it now. Like I was saying last week, it's getting better. I'm like, oh my god, I get it now, Gables. It's like I can see why people love this game, and I don't get why people love this game. I get why people love the story and the characters because it's fucking Kojima. It's all the best parts of Kojima.
Right.
But fuck this game. I'll play it again in 2022 and go through the same motions, but that's where I am right now. Because that's apparently what I do every year. I just pick it up and I 2019 tried and failed, 2020 tried and failed, 2021 tried and failed. So it's by the end of this generation, I'll have beaten that game. Um, but yeah. Anyways, and what sucks is I was looking. I'm like, I'm actually not that far away. I mean, I'm probably there 15 hours of gameplay in to beating it, but I'm like, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But I'm not there. It's still too much. I'm like 20 hours into this campaign. I don't want to do it anymore. I can't. So, anyways, I played the Resident Evil 8 demo, Maiden. It's only on PS5 right now. It's not even 20 minutes, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It's like you can't do anything. There's no combat. There's no blocking. There's no countering, anything like that. Um, but it is you're stuck in a cell. Yeah, I think you're like you're one of the maids at the place with Gigantus who I wanted to step on me so bad, and her three daughters. Um, but you get out of this, you're just trying to escape. Something happened and you're trying to escape this cell or escape the castle, and it's not very long. I would say if you have a PS5, if you're one of the six that have one, uh, download it, check it out. It's good for what it is. It's a nice little sneak peek. It's very much like the demo we had in for Resident Evil 7. I don't even think that was
Okay.
actually a part of the. I don't even think initially it wasn't even the what was it called, kitchen or something like that. Yeah, it was didn't even actually wasn't even part of the final game. It's just like a little thing of what it can be like. Um, but yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like it definitely like it doesn't change my mind any more than what um and whether or not I'm gonna like this game. But I definitely think if you're someone that's on the fence or want to check it out and get more of an idea what it is, like this is definitely a way to do it. Give a little more sneak peek of the characters. Um, it had a couple jump scares. The part that had audible yell at me was when I was playing the game and the Talking Ship group that I'm in a Talking Ship messaging group on Facebook, and
Uh-huh.
we were messaging back. I was playing it before the game started today, and someone messaged me. And I got the notification. It dinged, and I audibly yelled while playing the demo because I was so tense playing the game. So that's yeah, that's something. But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it. I think it's like I think it's a good demo too, where it doesn't like. I usually don't play in betas or demos for the most part because it's like I don't want to play that same part again. I don't like doing that. But in this case, I think it's good because, like I said, it doesn't. From what it looks like, this is you don't even play as Ethan or anything like that. Yeah, this won't. You're not gonna be playing this part again, and it's super short. So yeah, I think it's a nice little peek of what this game is gonna be like. But yeah, that is all I played this week. I think it's also gonna wrap us up for this week. I apologize if you're watching this on Twitch right now or on YouTube later, the video version. My camera went out like 20 minutes ago, but
Hmm.
as far as I can tell, audio on my end still working. But yeah, I don't know. It's done it a few times, but this time it just didn't come back. Um, but yeah, if you, in that case though, if you do you want to watch the show live or want to see the video portion of our show as I'm still trying to work out the kinks and the bugs of it. We're doing that. We record every week live on Twitch on Drunk Nerds Podcast. Just look up Drunk Nerds. If you look up Drunk Nerds Podcast on Twitch, you can't find us. But if you look up Drunk Nerds, first thing that pops up. We always record every Sunday night, usually around 9:30 Central Time, 7:30 Pacific Time. Um, but yeah, check us out. Follow us on there, but or watch us all later on YouTube at Drunk Nerds. And I'll have the video and audio version is on both up there for whoever wants. If you just want you don't want to see the video version, but you want the audio, it's gonna be there, and the audio version will be edited. The video version will not. So I literally just take the Twitch stream and put it on YouTube later. So if you want to edited version of the audio part, or of the show, it'll be on there. But yeah, other than that, though, follow us and everything else: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, iTunes, anywhere pods or casts. We're on those. Appreciate all you guys for checking us out this week. I was Tyler.
This has been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, hope you have yourself a fun week. Definitely play some fun video games, but most importantly, among all else, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables,
Yep.
too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.